afternoon, folks, and happy October 31st, or happy Halloween. And for many folks, that means today that they are preoccupied with trick-or-treating and dressing up and perhaps all things scary. And so many people maybe will engage in plenty of watching of scary movies, and oftentimes those movies have a lot to do with horror and just things that are scary and death even. And it may surprise us sometimes to be reminded that Jesus often spoke of death. Jesus spoke of his own impending death. In Mark chapter 10, verses 32 through 34 is an example of Jesus teaching his disciples and telling his disciples of his upcoming death. But Jesus spoke of his own death in a way that was much different than maybe we think of death being tied to Halloween and scary movies. Jesus did not speak of his death out of fear. It was almost out of a statement of fact. He tells his disciples that his death is approaching. He tells them of the manner in which he would die, that he would be handed over to the religious authorities, that they would condemn him to death, that they would mock and spit on him and flog him and kill him. But Jesus also did not speak of his death out of despair, because he also would tell his disciples in this same passage that after 3 days he would rise again. And so wherever we find ourselves on the Halloween spectrum, whether we observe it or not, whether we find enjoyment in it or not, we can be reminded on this day that for the Christian, for the person that puts their hope in Jesus, death means something very different for us. It's not something that we ought to approach simply with, fear and trepidation and a sense of defeat and despair. No, rather, for those that have put their hope in Jesus, for those that have a relationship with him, we can be reminded that through Jesus, we have hope and victory over death. And so whether you engage in scary movies or not today, trick-or-treating or not, or whatever other observances you observe, be reminded that for us, for the people that know Jesus, that love him and follow him, there is victory, there is hope over death. And so we can be not afraid. And so that's my hope for you today. Have a blessed day.